guys, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another one of our videos. Today, we are going to be doing the fourth in our series of Ryan's Pokemon card collection videos. So today, welcome, but we'll be going over what I consider to be my high-end slash super cool stuff. So this was going to be the last video for my current collection, and then what's going to happen from now on is that whenever I can sort of update some of you guys on my collection in bulk, I'll do that by featuring a couple more cards and things like that. And obviously some of our PSA openings will also sort of count to this set of series on the channel, but it'll basically be updating you guys on the status of my collection, as well as new and interesting things that we've sort of added to it over the time that we've been from video to video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our high-end stuff. The first one that I'm going to feature is actually my only BGS card, and that is a BGS Pristine 10, not Black Label, Charizard from Hidden Fates. So the reason that this is not a Black Label card is because of the surface of the card, interestingly enough. So that's a little bit of the history about this card. In case you're curious and you missed it, this card went viral, I guess, because it sold for $10,000 on eBay as a Black Label Pristine 10. Check out our BGS versus PSA video if you want to find out more about what a Black Label card is. But as you can see, the cards are really cool. There's a lot of glare, I apologize about that. And what's cool with this card is that you know, it's been sold for $10,000, yes, but realistically the price is somewhere more around $700 for this card. So in case you're curious, it is a pretty high-end card, and I only imagine that as time goes on, Charizard collectors will sort of drive the value of this card up further and further as time goes on. So that's a little bit for you about this card. From here, I'll kind of fast roll through some of the other items. I do have this beautiful Hold-On Phantoms Pikachu as a PSA Mint 9. So the history behind this is I actually pulled this card myself, which is pretty cool, and then I had it in a binder and sent it off to get graded. It came back as a 9. I thought that was pretty cool. One of these days I might challenge it to be a 10, just because I think it's worth a 10, but I don't know why it didn't get one. So maybe I'll hold it under a magnifying glass and try to figure that out myself before I send it in, but it's one of those cards, right? Like, you pull it and then you have it, and it means so much more to you when it comes back because it really is your card. So that's pretty cool. And then starting from there, we'll roll off with another Gold Star, my Gold Star Dragon Frontiers Gold Star Charizard. So what's cool about this is, again, I pull this card. So this and the Pikachu are the only two Gold Stars that I've ever pulled from packs. This one came back as a near mint 7. So this one unfortunately got a little bit more beat up. I wish I had been just as good about keeping this card as I had the Pikachu, because obviously one is worth a lot more money nowadays than the other, but all good. Again, one of those cards, I pulled it, I was like, oh my goodness, I pulled this card and it came back and it's worth a lot of money. So that was also really cool. So that's just a little bit of history about that card. So from there, I will now present to you basically what I guess could be considered my vintage, like really vintage stuff. First up is my first edition Shadowless base set Blastoise. This is a 5 that I got. So basically what happened was I ended up buying this card raw from a seller on eBay back before Pokemon like exploded in value. So back then when I'd purchased these cards, a PSA 10 Charizard was worth about $10,000. Now it's worth about $40,000. But I purchased this card in an attempt to get all 3 Shadowless first edition starter Pokemon. So this is my Blastoise as a PSA 5. Obviously I then had to get Venusaur as a PSA 5. And then I also got, of course, everyone's favorite, boom, Charizard first edition Shadowless base set PSA 5. So what's cool and what I love is that I have all 3 of them as PSA 5s, which is pretty cool. Again, they're not in the best condition, and that's sort of indicated by their grade, but I am happy and grateful that I have all 5 of them. And then, of course, as some of you guys may know from following the channel, we do have 2 other Charizard First Edition Shadowless cards currently with PSA being graded, so hopefully they will come back and sort of add a little bit of diversity when it comes to the grades that I have with Charizards. So with that Charizard, I also have some other ones. Apparently I have a lot of luck with the low numbers of PSA. My little Charizard collection also includes this Dark Charizard from Team Rocket. It's a first edition. It's a PSA 3, and the reason it's a 3 is because I think on the back of this card, somewhere here, there's a crease. So that crease automatically sort of brought it down to a lower level grade, and then it ended up being a 3 for whatever reasons they saw. I was really young when I got this card in that I didn't really understand what grading was. I bought it, fun fact, at the same time that I bought the other cards, but I was just unlucky, I guess, because this one had a crease. So it came back as a lower score, but no big deal, I'll live. And that's one of them. The other one is this PSA 5 Shining Charizard from Neo Destiny. So I love this card. It's, you know, another Charizard in my collection. First edition, you know, real cool, real simple. I bought this card and had it graded, so much like many of the cards in my collection, it means a little more to me because I bought it raw and then had it graded. So it's always like kind of like the little hunt to get a good card graded, and unfortunately I haven't had much luck in that process, but that's fine. So next up is a same card, a first edition Neo Destiny Charizard. This one is a Mint 9 card. So what's cool about this guy is that I ended up having to purchase it, but there's a part of me that likes to purchase the slab because I can always argue price when it comes to the card, but what I can't argue is whether or not a card is in good condition, and then it grades and doesn't come back the same way as I thought it should. So as you can see, that's what's really cool about these cards, is that they have that really nice holographic pattern. And then you know, I just thought I should buy this card. This card honestly could be worth about $1,000, and that's just, you know, based on what the market sort of shows it at right now. And then as a PSA 10, it's obviously worth a lot more money. On screen is probably going to be the exact cost. But yeah, so Shining Charizard, Mint 9. I do hope to get other Charizards in higher grades later on in the future, but as of right now, I think I'll be alright with a PSA 9. And then finally but not least, the last 4 cards. So speaking of Shining Pokemon, I do have this Shining Gyarados that I got a while back. Gem Mint 10, so this is kind of where we step up into the Gem Mint section of the collection. A beautiful card, by the way. What's cool about this Shining Gyarados, unlike this Shining Charizard, both of which are from the Neo series, is that with the Shining Charizard you'll see that it's obviously holographic, the Pokemon itself. This Shining Gyarados isn't. So this Gyarados is actually just red and is just kind of chilling in the water, and you can barely tell it's holographic, but you really just kind of have to let the light hit it in just the right way. And it is actually a holographic first edition card. So what's pretty cool about it is that it's a little different even within the Neo series, even within the Shining Pokemon set, and definitely one of my favorite cards. Paid, you know, mucho dinero for this one, and today you can probably find this card on the market for anywhere from $1,100 to $1,300. And again, because it's such a vintage card, a lot of people are looking to see how it's going to fare in age, but I think, you know, it's coming up on 20 years and I don't think the price is going to go down anytime soon. Next up is actually 2 cards at once. Skaboom! So I've got Umbreon and Espeon from the Pop series, the Gold Star Gem Mints. So a little history behind Pop series. Pokemon Organized Play, or Pop, released these promo packs that have 2 cards each in them. And what's cool about these guys is that these are the 2 Gold Stars that you can pull. In the following fall, they would have released a Pokemon set that had the Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon in them. So between the Pop series over the summer and the following fall's release of Gold Star Pokemon cards, they had covered themselves for all the evolutions up till that point. Of course, the next generation would have been Gen 4 when they released Leafeon and Glaceon. But what's cool about these guys is they're non-holographic. So as you can see, sort of by me wiggling them around, is that they're not holographic. They are Gold Stars, but they don't have like the typical Gold Star setup. What's cool about Espeon especially is that Espeon is a Japanese promo card that is holographic, and it's worth like 10,000 bucks. So crazy stuff. Also paid mucho dinero for these, but one can purchase these for about $2,000 each online. So I would actually expect you to see the pair of these cards going for like 4,500 bucks, but you could probably expect to see one of them being sold slice for slice at about $2,000 plus or minus a couple hundred. But don't expect to see these cards go any less in value. As you guys may know from our previous video, I do have a whole bunch of Pop Series unopened packs as part of that part of the review of my collection, and yeah, who knows, maybe one day we'll go Gold Star hunting if we make it big. Finally but not least, Gold Star Rayquaza Gem Mint 10. So this card recently sold at an auction, in my opinion, which was very untimed, for about $7,000. Now, you may check the auction right here and see that the final price was not that much, but what you have to remember is that eBay now charges taxes. So the price of that Rayquaza to the final buyer was probably about 7,300 bucks. Honestly, there are listings for this card at $25,000, and I think it's headed there. So let me explain a little bit why. The Gold Star cards have become increasingly valuable over the past couple of years. The Gold Star cards, as you know or might not know, were basically these Pokemon cards that came out with the EX series of Pokemon cards. What's cool about them is that unlike any other set of cards where Charizard is always the most expensive, Rayquaza has become the most expensive. My theory as to why that is actually because I think for a lot of people, Rayquaza was the first legendary dragon Pokemon that they encountered, and that meant more to them than Charizard, which was a starter type fire Pokemon, even if it was the fire dragon Pokemon. And the reason for that is because if you were playing the games back in the day, you would have probably gotten your hands on Emerald, Sapphire, or Ruby and played that game, and you would have encountered the box art Pokemon Rayquaza on Pokemon Emerald. So I think for a lot of people, Rayquaza was and is that transformative Pokemon that they all remember from their childhood. There's an entire generation who remembers Charizard because Charizard is awesome, but if you didn't grow up in the 90s and instead you grew up in the early 2000s, you might remember Rayquaza more than you do Charizard, and because of that, I think this card is going to be a card to watch in the upcoming years, especially as more and more of those people grow up and realize how cool this Pokemon was. So that's a little bit of my theory as to why this card and why this Pokemon in general might be getting a lot more attention as time goes on. But I think Rayquaza is an awesome Pokemon. I personally don't think the card is that great from like a playability standpoint. With Spiral Rush, I was never a fan of any attack where you needed to flip a coin until you get tails. But I think the card is awesome because it's a shiny Rayquaza, it's a Gold Star, and it's Rayquaza. It's the legendary Pokemon that put Kyogre and Groudon in their place. So for a lot of people, this is the Pokemon to watch, and I think for a lot of investors and fans of the hobby, this is going to be the Pokemon card to watch as sort of the next big thing. It wasn't that long ago that first edition Charizards were about 10,000 bucks, and they're now selling well over 40,000 bucks. So for what it's worth, I would definitely keep your eye on a card like this one, because I think this might be my crown jewel in my collection as of right now, just because I think it will be worth so much more in the future. And with that said, guys, there you go. This is the fourth video in our series, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining, and many blessings. Let us know down below, what is your crown jewel? Obviously we have our Rayquaza over here, but let us know down below, what's your favorite Pokemon card that you have? It doesn't have to be the most expensive, but what do you think is your crown jewel of your collection? Let us know down below. Thank you guys so much for joining, checking out all our videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us over on Instagram too. We do a lot more looking at these cards. We'll do some posts where we just kind of look at them and say how cool and pretty they are. So definitely let us know what you think, what you like, what you don't like, and follow us, subscribe, like, comment, engage with us. And thank you so much for checking out our stuff. Next week, more of the same. Hopefully not more crazy expensive Pokemon cards, but maybe some other good stuff, like some openings and stuff like that. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and thanks again for joining. We'll see you soon. Peace.